Hi Nels.
Hi.
Hi everyone. So we're doing a video out on location on therapy with Nels on a particular subject matter, and Nels has no idea what she's going to be asked, so it's completely spontaneous way of doing it, where I will spring the question on Nels and then we'll just do the video from there. Anything could happen, we could get interrupted, but it's quite a nice authentic way of doing it with an amazing backdrop. We've got the River Thames in London in the background there. You can see the skyline there, and the river, and I'm just going to do a very quick pan around so you can see where we are. That's Battersea Power Station. Pretty impressive building. And back to Nels again. Okay, so I've got one or two questions for you, Nels.
Okay.
And the first one is, why is it so difficult for us to get what we want? And before you answer that, first of all, to kind of clear up in our head what we do want and know what we want, and then secondly, to go and get it.
Okay, why is it so difficult for us to get what we want? Well, it's really all about the language that we use when we talk to ourselves. Language is incredibly, vitally important to get right. So being impeccable with our word and understanding that there is a huge difference between what we need and what we want.
Yeah.
So the idea of manifestation, which is that we get back what we give off. So if we give off I need, we will get back more need. It may not come directly back in the way that we put it out, but it will come back. So if we're putting out I want or I would like to, then we will get back more of that.
Right.
So first of all, it's being clear about whether it's a need or a genuine want. And we can be clear when we think about fear. So whether we are making a fear-based choice or an I want choice. A fear-based choice will be a I need to, I must, I ought to, I should, I have to. Often we'll make fear-based choices based on what we think other people want us to do rather than what we want to do ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we get to that first stage then where we actually know what we want? Because I think we confuse what we want from what we think we want, but we don't really want to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about understanding that the fear is always at the core of us in 5 major ways. So fear of I'm not enough, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of misunderstanding, and fear of, hold on, I've just forgotten the last fear, it'll come to me, fear of conflict.
Right.
Okay, so with those 5 fears in mind, it's really about checking in with our intention. You know, what are we really about? What is the core intention of us? Is it fear-based, or is it genuinely coming from a place of I want to, I would like to, because I'm enthusiastic to? So that's how we generally know if we're feeling enthusiastic for something, then the fear isn't controlling us. But
Okay.
if we have a worry or a concern about other people, then the chances are we're making a fear-based choice rather than an I want one.
And that was going to lead me into the next question, actually. When we decide what we want at any given time in our life, how much do we take other people into consideration, like our loved ones, our partners, our kids, our parents?
Yeah,
Which, how do we prioritize?
yeah. So it's with the deep understanding that we ourselves are number one. And I know that that's going to cause a lot of people to think, but that's selfish, that's not narcissistic. No, I don't mean in that way. I mean an understanding that we are number one because we've got to live with ourselves every second of every day.
Yeah.
We can never leave ourselves, whereas everybody else will come and go in our life at some point. So we're stuck with living with ourselves. And so taking responsibility of ourselves, managing ourselves and being authentic with ourselves is vitally important. So being selfish in the way that we put us first and then everybody else comes second. So making an I want to choice or I would like to choice, and then it's about compromising with the other or others to the point where you still want it and you're still enthusiastic for it.
Okay.
And if fear comes into it, whereby you feel that you're beginning to put the other person's wants or needs or priorities before yours because you're frightened of rejection, abandonment, misunderstanding, conflict, I'm not enough, then you know that you're making a fear-based choice.
Yeah. I get that. So, just to put a real life dilemma in there, I think a lot of people would probably experience this when they're deciding what they want, especially once they've got older, they're in established marriages and relationships and stuff, maybe even have kids.
Yeah.
What about those situations where, okay, you've given it a load of thought, you decide what you want, you know what you want, you know the things that you want, but your significant other or others, it doesn't sit well with them or sit as well with them. It compromises them. It doesn't necessarily compromise you, but it compromises them and your dynamic with them. How do we get around that?
Yeah, well, relationships are very organic and they grow and progress and things change and people change. We're changing, we're always in flux. So it's having those hard discussions whereby you look at all of the options based on the I want to, I would like to for both of you, and then you look for where the compromises are, and then you test out those compromises verbally to see how that might sit or how it might work. The danger there is going into the narrative of telling yourselves a negative story about the future that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So if you start to look for worst case scenarios, then fear is going to come in. And of course, because we're safety driven, we will be looking for what could possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
Because we're looking to protect.
Yeah.
So it's just being aware of not creating negative scenarios of a negative future.
Yeah.
Because
It's the negative
unknown.
fear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the unknown, it's the uncertainty. You don't know, it is uncertain, it is an adventure.
So people will be unwilling to make changes a lot of the time and take risks, if you call it, if that's the right word, risks. Just make changes. They're not confident to do that, are they?
Yeah, because in order to go on any adventure or any journey to explore, you have to have curiosity and you have to have enthusiasm, which means controlling the fear enough so that the fear doesn't numb you out, so so that you lose your energy and you lose your enthusiasm and you just feel numb, and then you don't know what you want anymore. And then you stop wanting altogether.
Okay. So say you've decided what you do want, and you've got a good idea what that kind of looks like. But having it is more challenging. Getting it, especially if whether it aligns with your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. What's the process in getting it, making it happen? What's the first stage, the second stage?
Okay, so it's really about understanding and tuning into what your purpose is. You know, what you feel you really want to do. What brings purpose and meaning to your life. What makes your life meaningful. And, you know, if that's your job or your hobby, whatever it is, it's holding on to that purpose for you, and you come first, and your spouse works around that with you.
So what's the first stage then, and the second stage? How do you make it happen practically?
So the first stage is checking in that you've got your right intention, that you're coming from a place of I want, and then you're making the compromise with your significant other that you're still I wanting, even though the situation may not be completely the way that you would ideally like it. And then you believe in yourself enough to control the fear enough to align with what you want and manifest that into being.
Right. Okay.
So that brings us back to how we manifest. You know, I think, therefore I am, and we create our own realities.
Okay.
By being as positive as possible.
Okay. Right, so in conclusion then, so anybody that's struggling in life with where they're at, they're not particularly happy, whether it's with their career, their job, where they are, who they're with, all these things, wish you a parting shot of advice to them as we sign off.
Well, just to be impeccable with your wording, which means how you talk to yourself in your mind and how you talk to others, because you're either creating negativity or you're creating positivity, and that's what you're manifesting into your own mind and you're putting out into the world, and what you put out you'll get back. So trying to be as positive and impeccable as possible with your thinking and your words.
Great. Okay. Good way to end. We'll leave it there then. Thanks very much, and we'll speak to you soon.